Hello everyone, my name is Sarah Bauman, a game design major here at the University of Advancing Technology. For my student innovation project, I have created a game called Elevated. This is a entry into the collectible card game genre. The purpose of this project is for recreating the genre with a new strategic depth not found in other card games. These new factors include a few things, such as a new board that is three-dimensional compared to the 2D boards featured in most other card games of the genre, a new dynamic range system that changes the cards depending on the board state. This game also includes a two-deck system as opposed to the usual one deck featured in other card games. Now, I could continue to explain the differences between Elevated and other card games, but at the same time, it would be easier to do a demonstration using the prototype built in Unreal Engine. Here is a small section of the build in Unreal. Now, what is currently being displayed is not the actual map for Elevated. Instead, this is a test scene to demonstrate what a normal card game would look like as a basis for comparison. Even though the board displayed here is in 3D, it is effectively a 2D plane for cards to be placed, like normal card games. Here is a card specifically made for Elevated. If this card were to be cast like in a normal card game, observe what happens. The units, in this case the griffins, are spawned on one side of the board to attack or defend for the player that used the card. With a card like this, the griffins can only take up so much of the board, and the card effect never really changes. Now let's see the actual build. Note that this board would be an example of a game in progress. Here the board has more dimension with different levels referred to as elevation levels. These elevation levels are important because they affect spell ranges. If we take the same card used in the previous example, here is how the spell works by default. Since this spell was cast on a low elevation level, the range was not as big as it could have been. Let's redo that same scenario, but cast the spell targeting a space with a higher elevation level. Now the range is much bigger and thus creates more units. So with that demonstration comes the main question. Why does this innovation matter? There are a few reasons, but the main focus is for creating more strategic options for card games. Placement rarely has any effect on gameplay within the genre. Spell effects also tend to be somewhat static depending on the game. With Elevated, there are a few more options to consider beyond what's written on the cards. This project has come a long way since its initial conception. Pre-production documents have been reiterated through playtesting, the elevation levels expanded upon, and even different board concepts created in both Unity and Unreal. As of now, the project has 4 factions with unique playstyles and over 100 cards designed to function with the new options available with the game's core innovation. I'm Sarah Bauman, and this has been Elevated, a new collectible card game. Thank you all for coming to this presentation.